Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Friday Night Ghost Stories. It's a bit chilly around here this evening, but I think we're going to have a little bit of a warm up tomorrow, and then it's going to get cold again. But it's good weather for a ghost story, at least I think it is. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining. And I see a bunch of folks in the chat early this time. Usually it takes a while for you guys to shuffle in, but shuffle into the library, so to speak. But let me just say hello to you guys first, and then we'll play the intro, and then we'll get going. Hello, Arm Distance. Hello, Gerard. Tommy Stiggs in the house. I'm not on camera. I forgot I'm not on camera. Godfather Sports is here. Emmanuel Spataro. Kelly is here. Williams from Brooklyn. Who else is here? A bunch of... Gianni Catalano is here. Cinnamon Girl is here. Thank you for posting things, Cinnamon. I appreciate that. And I saw someone else. I saw Wyatt Earp here. I haven't seen him here before. So welcome, Wyatt Earp. Good to see you. I've seen you in Stiggs' chat, but I don't think I've ever seen you in my show. So thank you for coming in and checking us out here. Adam was here before. I don't know if he's still here, but he was. So hello, guys, and thank you for joining. Vincent is here. Very cool. Bunch of cool people here today. Pam Labar. Welcome, Pam. I don't think I've seen you here before, but thank you and welcome for coming. Welcome. Thank you for coming. SPK is here. Wow, what a bunch here. This is awesome. Thank you, guys. Let me play my intro, then we'll get started. Hold on a second. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? There we go. Well, let's put it on. Let's put it on full stream. Well, hey there. How you like that? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. A whole bunch of other people came in too. Well, Edwin is here, my good friend Edwin. Good to see you. Bobo is in the house. Baywatcher is here. Who else is here? There's a bunch here. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I saw Thindu in the house before. I think I saw him. Yeah, he's here. He is here. Excellent. Everybody's here tonight. This is awesome. I'm so happy for you guys to join me and tune in for my little tales of Cape May. Now let's do our ceremonial lighting of the candles, because we can't do a ghost story without a candlelight. There's one. And there's two. There you go. Let's shut that off. We don't need that. And I'm happy to say that this is the return of my co-host, Lenny, tonight. Lenny's been absent for quite a while. He hasn't been here since Halloween. But I thought, let's bring Lenny back for the hell of it. Right, Len? I'm sure you are missing my stories, being down in the basement all this time. But thank you for joining me today. Let's get you situated correctly here so you could get right in on the fun. There you go. If you can hold yourself up, well, who knows? Anyway, so Cape May. Now, for those of you who don't know what Cape May is or where Cape May is, many people do. Very famous place. It's all the way down as south as you can possibly go and still be in New Jersey. And the town itself is very, very old. The town was founded in 1611, believe it or not, by a Dutch explorer. Let me see. I wrote down his name. Cornelius Jacobson May. But the May was spelled M-E-Y. Don't ask me how it turned into Cape May, M-A-Y. I don't know. But the original guy that discovered it, and it was named after, was this Dutch explorer, Cornelius Jacobson May, M-E-Y. Buy Lenny a scarf. Thank you, Stiggs. Very much appreciate it. Someone said Octavia is here. Good to see you, my friend. Excellent. Good to see you. Wait a minute. Let me get this off the screen before somebody yells at me for having stuff on the screen here. 23 people in the chat. Thank you, guys. So as I was saying, formed or founded in 1611, it was purchased from a local Native American Indian tribe by the name of something or other. Kakechemi, which is a branch of the Lenape Indians. And we've talked about the Lenape Indians before. Big New Jersey tribe, big Northeastern tribe, or federation, I should say, of tribes. And it was purchased from them. And eventually it was settled mostly by people from the Massachusetts Bay Colony, Plymouth, and Connecticut Colony. Those two colonies, the English settlements, eventually populated Cape May. So the original settlers, even though it was founded by the Dutch, really were English because they came from those two colonies. And if you know Cape May at all, you'll know it is a beautiful little shore town which is filled to the brim with these Victorian houses, Victorian era houses, which are very beautiful. And my research tells me that it's probably one of the most haunted towns in the world, because just about every one of these old houses has ghost stories that go along with it. Now, I can't possibly tell you them all in one episode. No way. It's not possible. So what I'm going to do is just tell you about 6 of them today, and we'll do future episodes of this because there's so much here to talk about that I want to give it the attention it deserves. And plus, it's too much, right? You can only do so much. But I'm going to talk about 6 specific houses in Cape May that are said to be haunted, and I'll tell you about each one of them. And there were plenty of ghost tours that take place there. If you're ever interested in going to deal with the paranormal type of thing and seeing what's there and that stuff, it's there's plenty of those down there too. So let's get started and talk about these one at a time. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is a place called the Sea Holly Inn. And this is what it looks like. Hold on. Let me see if I can put that on full screen for you. There you go. And as you can see, it's a beautiful Victorian house. and it's colored and painted in the Victorian motif, of the times. The various colors, the striking colors, and all the architecture, the eaves, and the different shapes to the house. Of course, the beautiful porch and everything. But this is the sea holly, and this this particular house was built in 1875, and it's located on Stockton Street in Cape May. Now, this one is said to be haunted by a couple of ghosts, the first of which is a servant by the name of Rose. Now, the story behind Rose is she was a servant in the house around the 1880 time period, and she became pregnant by the widowed sea captain that owned the Sea Holly. Now, in modern times, this wouldn't be a big scandal, but in Victorian times, it was. Even though he was widowed, they were not married, and she worked for him in the house, and he ended up getting her pregnant, and she ended up being banished to the third floor of the house while she was pregnant in order to cover up this scandal. Why is this getting in my way? In order to cover up this scandal, she could not leave the third floor until the baby was born. So can you imagine, this poor girl was stuck up there for 9 months on the third floor of this house just because they didn't want word getting out that she was pregnant. Now, she had a girl. She ended up having a baby 9 months later, which her name was Kate, or Katie. And basically, that kid was raised in this house until it was old enough to speak for itself and, speak for herself and walk and all that stuff. She was able to come down from the third floor and interact with the captain, whoever else was there, captain who was her father, and anyone else who was there. Now, I'm not sure what happened to this child or her mother that turned them into ghosts or what have you, but it's said that they're both there. The spirits of both of them are there, and as well as the spirit of the captain himself. Now, people have specifically seen the captain sitting or standing on that front porch, right there on that front porch, smoking his pipe, looking out over into the distance as if looking out onto the sea. And some people have even claimed that it was just an actual man standing there, that they would walk coming back. They're renting, it's an inn, so they're staying there, a bed and breakfast inn. They're staying there, and they come home late at night, either from the beach or from a bar, or maybe they went to Wildwood Crest or Wildwood, and they drove to Wildwood for they take the kids on the boardwalk or what have you. And they come back at night and they park their car and they're walking up to go back into their bedroom, and they see this old man sitting or standing on the porch, dressed kind of like a captain, captain would, an old time captain, smoking his pipe. And this gentleman will nod to them pleasantly as they walk by and they go into the house. And they would, in the next day, they would speak to the proprietor, saying, that was kind of interesting. You had someone here dressed as like an old sea captain. And the proprietor would say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. In fact, there's no one like that around here. And in fact, what it claims to be, is the spirit of the captain, who is quite pleasant. And you'll see through these stories, most of these ghosts in Cape May are not bad. They're pleasant. They're actually nice ghosts. They're not really scary. I mean, other than the fact that they're a ghost, and there might be startling here and there, but they're not malevolent spirits. They're benevolent spirits. They're good ghosts. And people will often smell the smoke, smell the cherry pipe tobacco smell from the captain smoking his pipe. So pretty powerful stuff going on in the sea holly that a ghost would manifest itself in front of people like that out in the open. Um, so hi Gina, I just saw that you jumped in. Carmela, good to see you. Just talking about one particular place in Cape May, the Sea Holly Inn. Now, in terms of Rose and the servant girl or the servant girl that ended up getting pregnant and her daughter, people have said that they've seen them in their reflections in the mirrors in this house, that specifically young boys will see the young girl, will see Katie, the ghost child. They'll see her reflection in the mirror more so than you would see Rose. But Rose is said to make a lot of noise at different times, and that Katie will still be running up and down the stairs. And during her life, um, Rose spent a lot of time trying to keep her upstairs, and because of that, Katie always wants to get out. And they seem to be replaying that scenario time and time again from the third floor down. So interesting stuff happening at the Sea Holly on Stockton Street in Cape May. Worth a trip there, I would think, if you ever are interested in that type of stuff. So that's number one. The Sea Holly was the first place we were going to talk about. The second place is a place called the Craig House. The Craig House. Now, I don't have a picture of this, but I would like to see if I could find it real quick here. Hold on. Let me see. Because I had them up before, and then I did something technologically to lose them. But it's important that you see these houses because number one, they're beautiful houses, and they kind of explain, or it kind of makes sense why they're haunted when you look at them. Craig House. Let's see. Can we pull this guy up? Images. Here we go. Let's see if we can pull this one up. All right, let's lose this guy. Let's lose the Sea Holly, and let's pull up the Craig House. There we go. There's the Craig House. Isn't that a beautiful house? Look at that. Beautiful Victorian house. Now, in this particular picture, it's decorated for Christmas, but you could see the wrapping porch there, the arches, the 3 floors. Beautiful architecture. Hi, Shannon. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Now, the Craig House. The Craig House was built in 1866, one of the older houses there. Now, most of the houses there in the town as a whole were built in the later 1800s because there was a fire in 1875, which kind of spread through the town and knocked out a lot of the buildings, and they had to be rebuilt. So this one survived. This one survived the fire and was built in 1866, and it's located on Columbia Ave, I believe. Now, this house is said to be haunted by John and Emma Craig. They're a husband and wife duo that own the house. And the backstory to this is that the house was originally purchased by John Craig in 1891. And he purchased it. He was a widow at the time, and he purchased it for his children and him to spend time in the summer. And they brought with them a housekeeper by the name of Emma, and he ends up marrying Emma, and she becomes Mrs. Craig. It seems like a lot of this marrying or a lot of relationships with the the help, so to speak, in this Victorian time that turn into scandal and turn into ghosts. So anyway. So Emma and John Craig are there, and also in the house, there's also something called um, the crowd of the back stairs, and this is interesting. This term crowd on the back stairs is referencing the back stairwell to this house, and that supposedly there is a crowd of spirits that go up and down the stairs, and people have seen them with fishing rods. And the theory is that these are the spirits of a bunch of fishermen who had stayed there during one of the summers in the late 1800s. Their spirits are there, and they're reliving their fishing trips, and they're always very jovial and laughing and happy and talking with each other and making lots of noise. In fact, the residents of this, whenever someone stays there, they often complain to the owner that there was a lot of noise in the back stairs late at night, and the owner usually just nods and says, yes, well, this is an inn that people come in and out. So, and he knows very well what it is, though. It's the crowd on the back stairs, these spirits that are coming in and out and um, having a jovial time, I guess, and making a little bit too much noise for the living. But they are there. Emma and John, and Emma is usually looking over the house. That's what she usually does. Her spirit, being a housekeeper to begin with, and then becoming the owner of the house. She seems to have a very close attachment to the house itself, and seems to warn the owners in ways if there's something wrong with the house. She'll um, make noise or direct them towards something that's wrong, whether it's an electrical problem or whether there's a leak someplace or whether a floorboard is falling down or what have you. Emma is being the caretaker, the ghostly caretaker of the Craig house, and will do her best to get things corrected by notifying the living what's going on here. And the owners will tell you that they rely on her to tell her about problems behind the scene before they happen. So interesting. And like I said, another, a benevolent ghost, someone that's helpful. She's helping the owners out. It's her house, and she feels that she wants to help them out, I guess. So that's number 2. So we had the Sea Holly, and then we had the Craig house. What do you think, Lenny? You interested in this? Is this interesting at all? I hope so. I hope you guys like it. Anyway, so the Craig house. Now let's go on to number 3. Number 3 is the Windward House. Now the Windward House is on Jackson Street. Now, where is the Windward House? Where's the picture of the Windward House? Windward House. Cape May. All right, let's see what we got here. This is an interesting looking house. All right, let's see if we can pull this up. This one, also a Victorian. And like I said, most of the houses are Victorians there. Where is this? Here we go. It's a little bit small. I don't know if you probably can't see that. Let me see if I can do full screen. It's still kind of small. I don't know why the picture's so small. But anyway, this one has, again, it has a wrapping porch. It has 2 porches. It has one on the top, one on the bottom, and it has several roofs, patched triangular roofs around it. And it's a beautiful old house, like many of the others here. Now, the Windward House on Jackson Street. This was built by George Baum in 1905. So it's a newer of the houses. It's built in the 20th century as opposed to the 19th century. Now this has a couple of ghosts too. Originally built as a getaway. Baum was a businessman in Philly who bought a lot of land in Cape May and built these houses. And this one was built for him per se and his family. And it's said that in this house, there's a couple of ghosts. There's a ghostly woman on the 3rd floor, and by the name of Bridget. And people say that she is an Irish, the ghost of an Irish servant that was working in the house. And in fact, they'll hear her whistling Irish tunes at night. Now, that's one of the ghosts. The other ghost is said to be Catherine, a ghost by the name of Catherine. Now, the scandal around this is supposedly Catherine was George Baum's mistress, and she originally lived across like next door, in what's called the Saltwood House. And it's said that this ghost, this Catherine's ghost, is seen sneaking from the old house, the house across the street, into this house late at night to see her lover, who was Baum, or Baum, and vice versa. You'll see the ghosts. You'll see the ghost walking or transgressing the two houses in an effort to find each other. Um, Interesting story there behind that. Um, Now, Catherine herself, you'll see her also. Many residents, or many people that stay there, guests, have seen her walking on the second floor balcony. And as I showed you in that picture, it was so small, but there is a second floor balcony there, and it kind of wraps the house. And she's out there patrolling at night, walking around, taking in the night air, and people will see her, and then suddenly she'll vanish. So manifests herself, this mistress of Mr. Baum, George Baum, still doing this sneaking back and forth for a little behind the scenes type of relationship in eternity, I guess. Still going at it all these years later. There's a bit of scariness in this one too, though. There is a powder room that is on the second floor that oftentimes will lock on its own. The door will suddenly, people that stay there say the door will close and lock, clock, and then there will, at times, even they'll hear a scream come from this inside this powder room, bathroom, when the door closes and locks on its own. And in fact, the door will remain locked until someone comes with a key and unlocks it. So that could be a little creepy, a little scary there. But there's no specific story as to what's behind that. It's just a phenomenon that seems to be happening. So that's the Windward House. So we had the Sea Holly, number 1. We had the Craig House, number 2. And we had the Windward House, number 3. Now let's go on to number 4. Now I think these are getting a little bit. They get a little bit more interesting. These final 3 a little bit more interesting, I think, than the others. So the 4th one is a place called Cabanas and Martini's Beach. It's a building that has 2 bars in it. One is called Cabanas, and the other one is called Martini Beach. Now, can I find this? Can I find them to show you what it looks like? And this one, when you see this picture, it makes sense that it's a very happening Martini Beach, Cape May. All right, here we go. Now let's see what this place looks like. Share my screen. And here we go. Now, this one, as you could see, this is also multiple floors. The interesting thing about this building, it's a Victorian era building, but basically built as a storefront, built as a bar, built for that purpose, built as an entertainment center, not a residency. And Cabana is on the first floor, and Martini's is on the second floor. And this place has had plenty of activity, ghostly activity as well. And you can't even see that, so let's stop sharing that. So in Cabanas and Martini's Bar, it's located at 429 Beach Avenue, Cape May. It was built in 1878. Now, again, multiple ghosts here. And this one, let's start off with Julia. Julia is a little girl that Julia was a little girl. Now, again, we have situations where people are having children out of wedlock once again. And but this woman was the woman that had Julia. It wasn't like a scandal. It was just a normal out of the wedlock type of thing. She got pregnant by someone who was there and abandoned her, and so she was living and she had to work for a living, and she worked at Cabanas or Martini's, one of the bars she worked at, and she would never return home because her father, unfortunately, who lived in Philadelphia, told her she disgraced the family and never come back. So she could never move back to home. So she had to stay there and earn a living. So she worked in the bar, and she used to have her daughter with her. And what she used to do is use a chair to put a chair up against her room when she went to work to keep her daughter in it. Because if she didn't, her daughter would come down and start, meandering around and getting involved, and she couldn't watch her and stuff. So she would take a chair and put it there at the door. Now, this obviously happened in the 1800s, the late 1800s. But for some reason, she's still doing this. She's still putting a chair. And many of the people that work there, as well as the residents, will say there will be a chair on the third floor up against a door, and how many times they remove it to different floors, and it still shows up on front of that door as if Julia's being kept from coming out and running rampant. So this ghost, very protective of her daughter, still doing it after all these years, trying to keep her present, keep her safe in the room so that she doesn't get loose and runs rampant. So that's one of the other ghosts in this particular place is a ghost by the name of Gilbert, who said he was a bartender. They say he was a bartender in his day, and um, let's see. Yes, this is the right. This is the interesting part about this. Whether it's Gilbert or Julia's mother, two ghosts, right, that are there. So actually, you have three ghosts. You have the mother, the daughter, and then you have Gilbert. Now, it's said that Gilbert and the mother are so protective of the bar and so into making sure that people have a good time there and a good service there that they'll actually intervene if people are getting bad service. Now, the example that they give is that if, for example, here we go, drinks are served at the bar or served to the table, as with dinner or with food. If the drinks have fruit that is not fresh, or if it's, turning stale or whatever, it's turning brown, one of the ghosts will intercede and will knock over that drink. No matter how many times they try to serve, every time one of those situations are knocked over, they'll find that the piece of fruit in the drink shouldn't have been used, that it was no good. So basically, these ghosts are saying, you're going to do their job the right way here. We're going to protect the patrons to make sure they get the best service and get the best product here. So interesting interaction between these ghosts and the people that work there and the people that come there to just visit. A real attachment to the service industry and showing that the best product is there. Let me see here. What's going on in the chat? Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. Good to see you. Vincent, it's Gilbert Black. I have no idea what color he is. I have no idea. All I know is that he was a servant. He was a bartender in there. All right. So that was Cabana and Martini's Beach, 429 Beach Ave. So we had the Sea Holly. We had the Craig House. We had the Windward House, and we had Cabanas and Martini's Bar. Now let's go on to the fifth site. The fifth site is called the Columbia House. Now, Columbia House, let's see if we can pull up Columbia House. Let's see here. Oh, wait a minute, that's not working. We don't want to do that. Hold on. But like I said, they're all beautifully crafted houses. There we go, Cape May. This one's pretty. This one's really pretty. Actually, I think it is. Anyway. All right, let's see if we can show you this. Share the screen. Here we go. Let me get a full screen for you. If you could see that. It's kind of small again. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, you could see the porch here. You could see the peak, the pointy peak at the top. On top of the third floor, you see the rounded windows. It's a beautifully structured building, and it's called the Columbia House. Now, this one is a little bit interesting. This one was inhabited by someone. This was by the name of William Essen. Now, he was a German baker, and he had a bakery in the house. And what he would do is he would produce baked goods as well as ice cream, and he provided to all the hotels and the houses in the area. So he made quite a good living. And he's said to still be there, and that people will smell fresh baked goods in the house, even though there hasn't been a bakery in use there since the 30s. In fact, he dies in the 1930s. But he's still there baking his goods, and the people will swear that it's a wonderful smell. The baked goods smell wonderful, but there's no explanation as to where they come from, because like I said, there's no bakery in operation there. So the thought is that William Essen is still there baking his bakery goods day after day. Now, interestingly enough, in this house also, there's been sightings of a ghost cat, which to me is kind of weird, but that's what they say. And they say that this ghost cat, people will sleep upstairs in the second floor, and that during the night they'll hear pitter patter of things, and that they'll be awoken in the middle of the night by purring, and that they'll feel like a cat is between their legs walking on their bed, and they'll wake up and they'll see nothing, yet they'll hear purring, and they'll get the sensation of an animal warming up against them. If you've ever encountered that, whether it's whether it was a dog or a cat kind of settling in on you while you're sleeping or relaxing, this ghost cat seems to be very friendly and does this routinely with whomever comes and stays in the inn. Hello, Arlene. Hello, Faye. I said hello to Nancy before. Thank you guys, as always, for joining. So this ghost kitty is supposed to be named Alex, and they found remains of a cat in the yard, which were disturbed when they were doing some type of construction, and they think that it's his ghost, that cat's ghost, that was named Alex, that does the little friendly haunting on the second floor of the Columbia House. So cool stuff there. And that one is at 26 Ocean Street. All right, so let's go on to the sixth and final house. This one is called the Ugly Mug Bar. And this one is pretty famous. If anyone's ever gone to Cape May, you may have gone to it. A lot of business at this particular location. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Open seating outside along the sidewalk on this road here where it's located. And multiple floors again, these Victorian fronted stores. So again, another beautiful building. Now, this one is said to be haunted by a couple of ghosts. One is it's what people believe is a teenage ghost by the name of Danny, and that he will be kind of playful and play tricks on people. Like he'll throw boxes and knock things over in an attempt to gain the attention of people. Being a young teenager, this is what he does. And now there's also at the end of the bar inside, there's said to be two ghosts that are sit there every evening. And people that are in that vicinity of the bar sense them there. They sit at the end of the bar, and their names are Junior and Phil, and that supposedly they're the ghosts of people of two older fellas that used to come in there all the time that passed in the 1980s and just refused to leave. Their spirits refuse to leave. You're still there, hanging out, having drinks. And now here's the creepy part. Now, supposedly, in 2005, an individual went in there by the name of McManus. He is said to be a medium or someone that communicates with ghosts, etc., like that. And most of these stories come from him, his experiences. And he went in there with his friend, and supposedly they ordered a drink that one of those ghosts would normally drink, which would be Campari and soda with 3 clubs of ice cream. I mean, 3 cubes of ice cubes, 3 cubes of ice cubes. So Campari, it's with Campari and soda. If anyone had Campari, it's very bitter. But anyway, Campari and soda with 3 cubes of ice cream. And as they took out this drink and toasted it, out of the blue, the jukebox went on and played "When I Drink Alone" by George Thorogood. I don't know if anybody knows that song, but the jukebox wasn't on. Nobody put any money into it, and suddenly went on and played that "When I Drink Alone," which is kind of creepy, if you ask me. Now, whether it was Danny, the teenage ghost, playing a trick, or whether it was Junior and Phil, who were recognizing the drinking of their drinks, one of their drinks, and played that little song to throw a chill in everyone's mind, or chill up their spine, so to speak. And they often said that many times the lights will go on and off and will dim and will get light again. And that many times the owners have asked people to come in and see if they could fix the problem. And whatever gets fixed, it doesn't help. It continues to go back to this dimming and on and off, this lighting dimming at random times. And if you're a guest there, or if you're a patron at the bar, you'll often experience these lights dimming on and off, and it's an ongoing thing. And they attribute it to the spirits that inhabit the ugly mug bar. So there are your 6 ghost locations in Cape May. And just to recap real quick, you had the Sea Holly, you had the Craig House, you had the Windward House, you had the Cabanas and Martini Beach bars, the Columbia House, and then the Ugly Mug Bar. So 6 sites of interesting stuff there. And like I said, there's so many ghost stories that go into Cape May in the town as a whole. I could just keep going and going and going, but it's way too much to do at one time. So what I'll do is I'll do different parts. I'll do additional ones later on, and we'll come back to it. But it's just such a fascinating and beautiful town. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend you going there. You might see Lenny there. Lenny likes the vacation there, I think. But it's has quite a history, an amazing history. And if someone you like history, that's plenty of it. Hi, Brian Crevorcier. Good to see you, my friend. Shannon, I'm just looking at the chat now. Sorry, guys. I was going through all of them, so I didn't really follow the chat. I don't know what's been going on. But I see Osada's here now. Nice to see you, my friend. Mike F is here. Shannon asked if I've never gone on one of those. I'd love to, but I've never gone on one of those. But yeah. Angel of the Sea. It probably does, Gina. It probably does have a story. Like I said, just about every one of these Victorians has some type of ghost story associated with it. And it it's kind of like a town frozen in time based on the architecture. It's all Victorian, for the most part. I could run the ghost tour. I guess. I don't know, Nancy. I guess I could try to. Deborah Roberts, hi, how are you? Thank you for coming in. So, those six ghost stories, I mean, I think they're all kind of cool. They're all linked to a specific time period, and they all. What I like about them is they're not scary. They're not scary situations. They're situations. They're creepy because they're there, or that they're unexplainable. But they're not there to scare people. They're not there to frighten you. They're not evil in any way. They're just positive type of situations. Now, Johnny says, I saw them doing the ghost tour in Cape May. Oh, okay. Having a cigar, and I heard the clop of the horse hooves on the cobblestones and saw all of the people doing the tour. Yeah, that must have been cool. I have never been there in the evening. I've only been there during the day, gone for dinner. I've never been there at night when I think they do the tours. Yeah, the historical houses have to any improvements have to adhere to the historic society's code so that they remain authentic to the period. Yeah, I mean, and this basically most of Cape May, at least the downtown, or the heart of Cape May, where the beach is, all of that, all the houses off of that are all the historic district, which makes it unique. Most towns don't have that. But yeah, fascinating. I remember when I got married, my wife and I went down there. And I remember, that was in 2000. I remember just walking around and just being amazed at all of the architecture. And I remember just taking pictures of houses because I thought they were beautiful. This was before digital. I had my camera with film, but I was going around taking pictures of just people's houses because I thought they were beautiful. So I don't know if anybody else had any questions in the chat. I'll try to look real quick and see if there was anything. Yeah, the whole thing is kind of creepy. The "When I Drink Alone" song coming on while they're drinking a toast to the people that were once there. Yeah, I think I'm going to make. Excuse me. I think I'm going to make plans to go on one of those ghost tours. I'd love to be and experience it and see what goes on. I also heard that Gettysburg has awesome ghost tours too. The town of Gettysburg. I've been to Gettysburg battlefield and all that, but I've never been in the town area where they have the ghost stories. So that ghost tours. So that's something that I'm going to look into as well. And it's not that far from me. Anybody in New Jersey, it's not that really that far. You can go take a day trip there. It's fine. Same thing with Cape May. You can take a day trip, even though it's far. It takes, depending on where you are. Northern Jersey, it's a good 2 hours plus 2.5 hours to 2 hours 40 minutes. It could be a haul, but you could still do it. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Appreciate it. I'm glad you guys like it. Because that's why I do it, because I hope you guys like it. But yeah, the medium that came up with most of these stories is named by McManus, and he has several books out there which describe his experiences. And what he would do is he would go to each one of these homes or houses and spend some time there and try to contact spirits and such. And a lot of this information came from him. So he would take the original legend or story and then try to delve into it with his psychic powers or seances or whatever and try to find out if they're true or if they're different and see what, stuff like that. But he has a lot of great stories as a result of that, as a result of those efforts. Baywatcher. It would be cool to see you live at one of these bars. Yeah, I mean, if I can get down there, yeah, sure, why not? Why not? And that's true. You could go back and see if there's anything unusual that shows up on the film or on the stream. But again, I'm gonna do so. It's a good idea, Baywatcher. If I could get down there this summer, I will. I will definitely do that. I'll definitely do that. But there's, like I said, there's a lot more stories, a lot more buildings, a lot more houses or structures there that have ghost stories linked to them. And I'll do an additional show, if not more than one, on this so that you get the whole picture of what's going on there. But I'm going to try to do that. I'm try to go down there and see what I could find. It'll be interesting, be fun. Maybe Lenny will come with me, right, Lenny? I think he's just happy to be out of the basement. He's been down there since Halloween, but he's just happy to be up here for a little bit. Good night, Paul. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Now, Baywatcher, the gateway to hell is New Jersey in some waterway. I never heard of that. The gateway to hell. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, Stiggs, Lenny is not fluffy. He is no way near fluffy. And I'll plug again, like I haven't gotten anybody that has offered to do anything, but I'll do it. I'll say it again. If anyone wants to come on and tell their individual paranormal experience, I would love to do a show specifically on that. All you have to do is email me and we'll set it up. I'd like to drop the link and get people to come on and just tell us about their experience. I know Osada said that he had one. I know Don McHugh said he had one. I'm trying to think. A few other people said they had them as well. So I'd love to hear them in detail. And I think you guys would like to too. It's got to be, that would be interesting. So it's a true spot, Baywatcher. Okay. I'll definitely look it up. Gateway to hell. And it's a river or it's a waterway, I guess you said. SPK, what am I drinking? I am drinking another one that I had last time, which is a Fields of Gold. It's a mixed drink made with bourbon, honey, oranges, lemons, and a cherry. And it's delightful drink. It's delightful. I love it. And it's good for just sitting and relaxing. Yeah, Gene, I think so too. I'd love to hear people's actual experiences. And some people will say, I don't, but you don't have to believe in ghosts. It's just, I'm just curious to what you've experienced because so many people said they've had some type of experience that they couldn't explain. So I'd love to hear about it. And who's the one? Is it Vincent? Somebody who keeps telling me the ghost of Joey Gallo. I don't find anything about his ghost anywhere. But if there is, I'd be happy to look into it. But I couldn't find anything on the ghost of Joey Gallo. Speaking of mob stuff, But I think it's Vincent. I keep saying that. Somebody keeps saying it in Stiggs' chat. They always bring that up, that I should do that. Gates of Hell. I hope that's not just a sewer. Yeah, exactly, right? Who needs that? I'm going to write it down. Gates of Hell. See what we can find out there. Shadow, is there, Deborah Roberts, is there a real shadow man? I don't know. I don't know the shadow man. I don't know what that is. I mean, I've heard of shadow people, which are like ghosts. I don't know what the shadow man is, though. But yeah, so those were my stories for this evening. I hope you enjoyed them. 6 individual houses that you can always check out if you're in the neighborhood, if you want to go down to Cape May. Always worth the trip anyway. I tell you, we went there last summer just for lunch. We were staying in Wildwood Crest, and we just went there. No, for dinner. I'm sorry. And we went to this Italian restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but the food was great. I was surprised. It was really good Italian food. And it was an old Victorian house. It wasn't any of these, obviously, but it was, or at least it appeared to be, a Victorian Monteith. I don't know if it was an actual house originally, or if it was just built to be that way, in a modern way. But it was good food, good Italian food. Yeah, Deborah, I've heard about shadow people before, that they're something like a ghost, but they don't know exactly what they are. So yeah, could be. I don't know. Could very well be. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me and spending some time with me and Lenny here. But we do appreciate it, and hope you'll come back next week. I'll find a new topic, or I could do more Cape May. Who knows? I'll think about it. Probably want to mix it up. Probably want to do something else, and then go back to the rest of Cape May later on. But anyway, I do appreciate each and every one of you. As always, press the like button if you can. It does help me get this video out. I get some more likes. You're surprised how many more, I'm sorry, views. I get a lot more views after, which is throughout the week. It's kind of interesting, and I think it's because a lot of people press the like button. So if you can, that'd be great. Press the like button. That's right, Cinnamon. Thank you, Cinnamon Girl. TT is going live at 10:30. Please join her. I'll be there as well. So please, tune into TT Rad for her Friday night stuff. So it'll be fun. But thank you all so much. Thank you for building the guild. And I like to say, God bless. And we will ceremonially blow out the candles and bring another Friday night ghost story to an end.